Hi, thanks so much for joining me again here live in Ireland for the Traveling in Ireland podcast. Now, today I do not have a question for you. That's not to say there aren't questions in the wings, but I actually was out this morning, met a woman, and asked her if she wanted to have a little chat that I could record, and she said yes. So I'm going to share that with you now. I am actually sitting right outside Kilkenny Castle. It's a Saturday and there is a small market. And I stopped by the stall of Deirdre McCarthy, who is a very talented artist. I love her quirky works. And so I'm just talking with her for a moment to share her story with you. So Deirdre, thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me. I know I caught you off guard.
No problem, no worries.
So tell me a little bit about Kilkenny and the market and yeah, just share a little
Life
bit
in
about
general.
that. Yeah.
So I can't tell you a huge amount because I'm not from Kilkenny. I live in a little village called Inistioge. It's very pretty.
Okay.
There's been 2 films made there.
Mm-hmm.
It's very quintessentially Irish. And
where is Inistioge located?
So Inistioge is in County Kilkenny, about 25 minutes south of Kilkenny.
Okay.
And I live up on the Blackstair Mountains, overlooking a valley with the River Nore running through it, which is so beautiful, and big skies. And I was born in Africa and lived there until
wow.
I was 9. And my parents are from Belfast, so we moved back to Belfast. And then the Troubles broke out. So we left there then and moved to Kinsale, County Cork, which is also a beautiful place to visit. And then I qualified as an art teacher and taught in Dublin for 20 years or so, and had my children there, got married, had my children there. And when my boys, I had 2 sons, went to college, I decided to buy a house for me.
Okay.
And I wanted to live in a quirky cottage on a hill overlooking a valley with big skies, and that's exactly what I did. And it's so inspirational, it's so beautiful. And so I've been doing the art market here for about 3 or 4 years. And we're all local producers of whether it's meat or pizzas or jewellery, bog oak, jewellery, anything. There's all kinds of things.
Yeah, I saw pens and bog oak.
Yeah.
I haven't been all the way up yet, but it's just a charming little
Macrame, food, gorgeous food.
Just a charming little and is it only Saturdays?
The market on the parade is on Thursdays and Saturdays.
Thursdays and Saturdays during the season, though.
No, the Thursday one goes through the whole year.
Oh, lovely.
And actually that's really gorgeous because you get organic farmers selling their veggies and what have you. But we're here from May to September, us artists.
Okay.
And there's about 8 of us here usually. And we sell our paintings and artwork from Saturdays and Sundays through the year. So
Lovely.
That's it. And we get a lot of tourists and we get a lot of Irish people as well. And it's just so nice for us because our job is sedentary and quiet. We all work at home on our own. So it's lovely to come out at the weekends and meet people.
Right. Now, I want to talk about your art a little bit.
Okay.
Because it caught my eye because number 1, it's bright.
Yes.
Number 2, it's quirky. I bought the cutest little curious cow painting, which if you want to see it, click over to the show notes and I'll have an image there. But you said that, you live on the hill, big skies, lots of inspiration, and I think it really comes out in your paintings.
Yes, definitely. And I've been living there for 8 years. And I mean, Ireland is a beautiful country. I've travelled all over it. I've actually lived in the 4 cities, in Belfast, in Cork, in Limerick and Dublin, and travelled a lot in the west, especially Kerry, which is particularly gorgeous. It's a very different terrain. It's very wild and jagged. Whereas the east coast of Ireland is softer landscape. But where I live, it's just, I find it very peaceful, very serene. I listen to the birds. It's the ideal place for an artist. And I'm so inspired by it. And I've always been into pattern and colour. So, and I think as a child growing up in Africa, I was very influenced by the very strong geometric African patterns. And I studied different sort of indigenous, tribes, indigenous art, if you like. I'm drawn to the primary scale, and I like colour harmonies. I like working with all shades of blues, maybe with an opposite of an odd orange, that sort of thing.
Well, and you have right now, there's a painting that is absolutely gorgeous, and it won't fit in my suitcase, otherwise I'd be on it. But it's purples and yellows, which are really dominant colors in the countryside, with the grouse and the clovers and things. So just absolutely stunning.
There's no doubt about it. When you zoom in on any part of the Irish landscape, things that you wouldn't think would be natural are there, and I love that. And I'm constantly looking. Kind of scary to be driving with me, because my head is more looking at the top of trees and birds' nests than the road. But no, Ireland is such a beautiful place. I don't think there's a nicer place in the world to live when the sun is shining, for sure, But no, I'm very blessed. I feel very blessed that I live where I live. I love gardening, so I grow all kinds of flowers and veggies and stuff. I have a little orchard now, and surrounded by trees.
Well, Deirdre, I want to give you the opportunity to share your work with my audience. And I know you told me you have a Shopify site.
I do.
So can you share the information about that?
I think I don't have my card with me. I'm typical artist, not organized. So I think it's Deirdre well, I suppose if I give my email, maybe that's the best thing.
That's fine. Or I think Shopify, you can search by name as well.
So Deirdre McCarthy, I think it's 6378 myshopify.com.
Okay, I'll do a search for it, and I will link it in the show notes for anyone who wants to check it out.
Fabulous. And I ship my paintings, by the way, either framed or unframed. Usually it's better to ship them unframed, because a lot of the mouldings are quite softwood and they could get damaged.
So before I go, I want to ask you, where would you say, if somebody's coming to Ireland for their very first visit, and they were to see one thing?
Oh, gosh.
I know, it's an awful question.
One thing. One thing.
One thing.
I think it depends, really, if you're into the seascape or landscape.
Okay.
And if
I'll let you give me two then.
Okay, so I'll give you Kilkenny for landscape, okay? It's very quintessentially Irish, there's lots of thatched cottages, there's lots of farming going on. Beautiful vistas, lovely rivers, what have you. And then if I was going to the sea, well, I would definitely say Kinsale, because it's a beautiful harbour, sheltered harbour. Lots of history. You've got Charles Fort, James's Fort. In Kilkenny, by the way, you've got the medieval mile. So there is that feeling of going back in time. A lot of the buildings are beautiful.
Yes.
And Kerry is divine. Dunquin is gorgeous. You've got the Blasket Islands. Clare is gorgeous.
Yeah, see, now we're just getting into everything.
I'm sorry, but it's so gorgeous. And you have to dress for all seasons each day, But I generally find the people are really friendly, and there's a nice energy here.
And willing to talk when I ambush them at their stall and say, hey, have a chat.
There's no one better than an Irish person to chat away all day long.
Well, Deirdre, I really want to thank you for taking the time to chat with me today.
Yeah, it was gorgeous meeting you too.
And and your paintings are just stunning. They really caught my eye.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
It was so much fun to talk to Deirdre, to hear her story, kind of learn a little bit about the Saturday market on the parade in Kilkenny. That runs through the season, so it's actually getting ready to wrap up. But if you happen to be in Kilkenny on a Saturday during the summer, be sure to wander through the booths, because there are a lot of beautiful, beautiful items in there, all handmade by local artists and crafters. So today was the second day of my Celtic Experience tour. And this morning, my group, I gave them a little taster of Kilkenny last night. We took a walk here in the city, and this morning I kind of set them loose and said, go and find your Kilkenny. Find what you want to, search out what intrigues you. There's Kilkenny Castle, St. Canice's Cathedral, where you can climb the round tower. There's the Medieval Mile Museum. So there's quite a lot to do. And one thing that I did hear was, Jody, you should give us a full day here. And I agree. But the thing, you just can't do it all, right? So this afternoon, we went into Tipperary, and we spent a beautiful, beautiful early afternoon at Cahir Castle. The sun was shining, the sky was blue. We had a lovely picnic on the grounds, and then we went to the Rock of Cashel. And I actually walked down to Horabbey, which is below the rock. So it's a beautiful little hike down the hill from the rock. You kind of follow the Tipperary Way, and you cross through a stile and go across a field and down to the Abbey. But again, we had a beautiful afternoon for exploring. The weather was absolutely gorgeous. It was about 71 degrees Fahrenheit, blue skies, sun. It's a perfect day. Just doesn't get more perfect than that. So I want to thank you so much for listening. I've made it through this first week of podcasting almost. I suppose it'll be officially a week on Monday. We are off to Doolin tomorrow, and just in case I don't happen to get a podcast up, I'm going to blame it. I'm going to pre-blame it on the fact that we're probably going out to the pubs tomorrow night. And by the time we get back, I will not want to sit down and record a podcast. So if I do not record a podcast on Sunday, please accept my apologies. I know I've gotten some great messages saying that you're enjoying kind of traveling along with me, and that makes me so happy that y'all are listening. So if there is not a podcast tomorrow, I sincerely apologize, but I will be back on Monday for sure, and I will bring you, well, I don't know. It depends on what comes up, right? Maybe I'll be talking to somebody. Maybe I'll bring you a question. But either way, I will be back. Now, don't forget, I am taking questions, and I would love to answer your question on the podcast. So if you have an Ireland travel question, go ahead and email it to me, Jody, Jody, at IrelandFamilyVacations.com. And let me know if I can use your name, your first name and your last initial, the first initial of your first name and your last name, or if you just don't want me to mention your name at all, that is fine too. But shoot me your Ireland travel question, and I will give you a shout out here from the podcast. I was going to say tomorrow, but until the next time, slán go fóill.